Hello and welcome to Out Nerd It. This is Paul. Well, today on the death of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Well, to be fair, it possibly was, and it's not a very big bar to beat. Possibly the better of the 4 episodes now that we've had. It wasn't great, I'm not going to pretend it was. There were some interesting moments with Stormtrooper armour, which I kind of enjoyed. Because sometimes it seemed to be it actually worked as armour. There was a couple of occasions where Obi-Wan deflected a blast back and it didn't kill him right away. And the first time he sparked his lightsaber, it took about 4 hits for him to do him in. It's like, I know you might be out of practice, Ben, but, come on. It's still going to go through, through butter, innit? Like it was a hot knife. Anyway, that's just getting ahead of myself. So, it opens up with Obi-Wan in a Bacta tank because everyone seems to have a Bacta tank in the Star Wars universe. If it's good enough for Boba Fett, it's good enough for Obi-Wan. So anyway, they're healing him up. Now, his burns look quite extensive, which is a bit strange because when he got dragged through the fire last week, he had a bit of a sizzle on his clothes and that were it. And he's like, oh, so now we're expected to, that he's got like 3rd-degree burns or something. But alright, okay. So he's having more flashbacks to his fight with Obi-Wan, and you see they start mixing it in where it's part Obi-Wan in the Bacta tank and it's part Vader in the Bacta tank. And that's all it does. It's just to show us that he was actually injured, even though it looked like he was absolutely fine. Anyway, we have that scene. He says, he needs to go rescue Leia because he cares about her deeply now, where before he didn't, which is a bit strange. But anyway, the plot has to happen. He has to go get Leia because, we can't have him left. We can't have her left with the Empire because that wouldn't make sense. But there's a lot of things in this video that don't make sense. So don't worry. We'll try and, I'll get through it. So, blah, blah, blah happens at the beginning with Obi-Wan. We then get to Mustafar and Princess Leia is once again supposed to be a 10-year-old, but she's talking like adult Princess Leia would. Like she talks to Grand Moff Tarkin in A New Hope. That's what we're getting. We're not getting a scared, frightened 10-year-old like would happen in real life, I'd imagine. But no, she's calm, cool, collected. She talks back at the 3rd sister. And you get her you get the 3rd sister like playing good cop, bad cop all on her own. One minute she's threatening Leia, the next she's saying, oh, I'm your best friend and all this bollocks, or acting like it, trying to get on a level with her where they start talking about, you get a little bit of a pass, nothing major. Just how, she once had a robot and everything was taken away from her. Presumably because she was, found by a seeker to become a Jedi, who knows? We haven't got there yet. They're not big on backstory, are they? So, she tries to question Leia. It doesn't work. So she ends up using, the magic wavy hand thing that Kylo Ren does, and that she did as well in the 2nd episode. And Princess Leia is totally okay. A 10-year-old can mentally block an Inquisitor. Absolutely no problems. Now, whether this should have been a giveaway to the Inquisitor, we don't know. But presumably it's because Leia's Force sensitive, you'd think. So if she comes out being able to use the Force in episode 5, it'll be just like Rey. But she can't unblock her mind or whatever. And that's it. She throws a tantrum, the Inquisitor. I said she pretends to play with the robot, and then they get ready for a torture scene. Now, this entire episode, I think, is supposed to be like a tribute to horror, or if not horror, then suspense and thriller, because it's full of, dark corridors and music that makes it feel like something's going to happen when it's not really going to happen. I mean, one of the things, I'm jumping about a bit, but one of the things I'm getting with Obi-Wan is I sometimes wonder, is it an Obi-Wan show? Or is it Jedi Fallen Order? Because the two are very, very similar. I know it's probably all Star Wars stories as it is, but, both times now we've had a Jedi cut off through, in Fallen Order it was a Padawan, I suppose, but we both had Jedi who cut themselves off from the Force. They both saved someone in a very similar fashion. And now this scene on Mustafar, it's almost identical to what you play in the last level of Jedi Fallen Order. So you might as well, is it Obi-Wan or Cal Kestis we're watching, I should say. So anyway, Obi-Wan manages to swim underwater. You remember them rebreathers from Phantom Menace? Hey, they're back. He manages to get into Vader's secret castle that way, going through under the water. And like I said, I'm sure that's similar to Fallen Order. I've not played it for a year or so, but it's ringing so many bells. So Obi-Wan gets in. He snaps a stormtrooper's neck. Meanwhile, secret rebel agent has gone into this facility first so she can, be like Felicity and Arrow and guide him through everywhere. And she's giving him instructions through a microphone. She's talking to him normal. And there's fucking Imperial officers, 2 meters away because it's still the era of Rona, innit? But, regulation distance away for the filming restrictions. But there's Imperial officers right next to her and they see her talking into a microphone and he does nothing. And it's not until another Imperial officer comes over and challenges her and he has to see her identification and then wants to take her to another room to view it, which doesn't make sense. But it's only done that so she can easily kill him. We don't see her. We don't see how she somehow defeats him hand to hand, but okay, it's fine. So she's guiding Obi-Wan through the facilities. He comes up to a long corridor and it's if you've seen Clone Wars, you'll recognise many people. You've got the goat-looking Jedi thing who helps Ahsoka Tano out when she loses a lightsaber in Clone Wars. He's in there. You've got a Padawan in there, numerous others. I can't say I recognised all of them. Some of them could have just been not random everyday people. I don't think they were all Jedi, but it would make sense if they were. And he says this isn't a laboratory, it's a tomb. I'd have gone with museum, but okay. So Obi-Wan's visibly stunned by all this, as I'm sure we're supposed to be. And then he hears Leia screaming and tells Rebel Agent to cause a distraction. And here's what I said about the lightsaber stuff. He actually sparks his light. He somehow before he gets there. You remember in A New Hope where he's on the Death Star turning off the shield. I can't remember what it's called. What's on it? Extract. Fuck it. Who cares? What the fuck's it called? When you got a gravity shield, gravity fucking pulley thing. Remember in A New Hope when he has that, and he uses the Force to distract them two stormtroopers. He does it again in here, and you knew it was going to happen. Maybe just because poetry and it rhymes, blah blah blah, or only because the writers had no other idea. But he does the force to distract the stormtrooper thing. So you call back, call it what you want. I'd call it key jangling at this point. Yeah, and like I said, he hears Leia screaming, blah blah blah. Rebel agent causes a distraction, and we get Obi-Wan sparking his lightsaber for the first time. And it takes him 4 attempts to kill this stormtrooper. Now, on the second stormtrooper, he's a lot better, don't get me wrong, but I'm not sure why it took. Maybe they're just showing that the armour does work occasionally. So he rescues Leia. She says, I didn't tell him anything. And he says, I know. How he knows she hasn't blabbed, I have no idea. Because he wasn't there. But either way, he rescues her. They make their escape. And we get some truly bizarre directing choices here. We really do. So he takes her through a corridor and they get spotted by one of the droids, security droids. He starts flashing, bleep, bleep, bleep. And the stormtroopers come after him. And he's deflecting their shots like it was, he were back in the Attack of the Clones and everything. Hey up, Alfie cameo. Hello, come here, quickly. Quickly. Come on then. Oh, well, never mind. Anyway, he lost his chance. There we go, Alfie cameo. So, alright, you don't have to do that. Alright, stop. Anyway, you've lost me train of thought now. You're stuck in my t-shirt. You're stuck in me... Alfie! Alright, stay there. Right, so, shit, I'm lost. Oh, for fuck's sake. This is not... There. Right. So, he's deflecting these blaster bolts. Bing, bing, bing. Pew, pew, pew. And he hits a window and it starts getting ready to, burst. So, he manages to, while he's deflecting, he shoots some of the blast doors. And while the stormtroopers and the third sister are struggling to open the door, and as they do, he manages to deflect. He's holding back the water like he's Doctor Strange in Endgame. It's probably not a good comparison. It should be more like Kanan Jarrus in Rebels, where he's holding back the flames. But you get the point. He's holding back the water. And then he manages somehow to smash every window and let it all come in. And obviously it drowns the stormtroopers. And he scarpers out of there. Now here we get a bit of a few strange things. As they're making their escape up to the landing area, he walks past with Leia, presumably, because she's tucked under a coat, a big long trench coat kind of thing, which is absolute. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure somewhere in the annals of military history, this kind of thing has happened. Let's be honest, it has. But it looks so bizarre, especially as he's now back in tune with the Force, and he walks past 3 Inquisitors, who don't sense a fucking thing. He walks past the entire Imperial base and personnel, with Leia just, clinging to his side, kind of, while he's walking past them all. Like, how are you not caught? Yeah? I know who dares wins and everything, but this is ridiculous. Right? So, they get to the landing pad and somehow the ships have disappeared. Oh no, what are they going to do now? And we have the third sister comes along with a lot of stormtroopers and shouts traitor, prisoner, and oh man or something. Was it worth it? And we have some speeders, the ones that you see in Empire Strikes Back, who I'm sure we are told in Empire are only for short range and they don't fly in space. They're just more like ground support aircraft. They're not starfighters or anything. But in this, they're flying through, and the multi-occupancies. Yeah, one of it, they shoot up the bit, they come flying into the base, and you don't see them pull away. Now, obviously they do, but you don't see it. You just see them on a direct course, blasting away, And you presume that, kamikaze attack or something. But anyway, they obviously they pull away, and they come back again, and one of them lands, and like it's more like a taxi than the speeder we've seen in Empire Strikes Back. Now I know there can be many various models of these, blah blah blah, but in Empire it is specifically shown as a two-seater kind of ground support plane. That's it. Or if it was to give it Earth names. So they jump on board these speeders, and off they go. One of them comes in to give fire support while they make the escape, and Third Sister kills it by launching I presumably like a battery cell at it, and oops, he's dead. Never mind, red shirt. So they get away, and then we get a scene where Vader pops up again, and he's not happy. He's not a happy bunny rabbit indeed. Why is there no Imperial March when Vader's here? I know Disney thinks all things original trilogy are bad, but where is the Imperial March for Vader? You're missing a treat. Yeah, I don't care what you put in its place. When I see Vader, I expect the Imperial March. But anyway, he grabs hold of, using the Force. He starts force choking obnoxious fucking woman, and she whispers something, and for some reason he lets her go and says, "I planted a tracker on the ship." And it turns out that somehow we didn't see it. We didn't see her reprogram or put a chip on this that Lola droid, but she somehow does something to it. It might have been nice because that way you've got payoff, set up and payoff. But nah, we didn't see that unless that's on the cutting room floor somewhere. So she's reprogrammed or added something to Lola, and that is now a tracking device. Which, I'm not being funny, that sounds suspiciously like the plot of A New Hope. Does it not? Does it not? I don't know, I think it does. My wife is killing the house. But anyway, Lola's eyes blink, we know what's happening. That's it, that's the end of the story. The episode. Now, this was its best episode, but it still had Obi-Wan being led around by, I guess you could say guided by female rebel agent. So it's just give him some agency. Give him so he's the guy in charge. He's General Kenobi, Jedi Master, but I guess not. Anyway, that's it. It was the best episode of a very low bar. There were some silly moments that I didn't understand. I don't know why they were there. Like I said, just the scene of him walking through all the Imperial officers and troops with a greatcoat on, hiding Leia. Ridiculous. No doubt there will be some real world thing where that happened. I'm not doubting that. You've got what 20,000 years of proper human history, recorded history, whatever. But so you will find, that as a ruse. But it just didn't make sense. Like I said, the speeders, they're hovering now as well, like the Harrier jump jets. When was that able to happen? That might have come in useful against them in The Empire Strikes Back. Anyway, that's it for this video. It wasn't great, but it's better than what we've got so far. I don't understand how Disney can fuck it up. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. You've got source material that you can use for this. They could have mixed the original trilogy post Death Star into this, so we could have had Luke finding out more about being a Jedi and his heritage, and we could have seen Obi-Wan leaving subtle lessons or whatever for Luke to find when he goes back to Tatooine and searches Obi-Wan's house. We could have had some truly magnificent Star Wars here. And we got this. Now, maybe 4 and 5's going to pull out of the bag. Obi-Wan's reconnected back with the Force somewhat. We know there's supposed to be another fight with Vader, which is fucking stupid. Absolutely stupid. But, you know, Disney likes to waste money. Anyway, that's all for now. Cheers. See ya.